What's up, guys? Great morning, great morning, great morning. I'm Amanda Sapp here on Amazing 102.5 FM, your Do Good Through Good station where we're changing lives one listener at a time. Ladies, I'm glad that y'all are in here this morning.
Good morning.
Can y'all hear me just fine?
Not yet.
Not yet? There you go. Can y'all hear me now?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. I'm glad that you all are in here this morning, spending some time with me. It looks like it's going to rain. We were just talking about what it might feel like now in Houston when you see any sense of cloudy weather or anything. Is it just me, or am I the only one that thinks in itself, I wonder what kind of rain this is going to be?
I wonder what type of rain it's going to be. I wonder if my power is going to stay on.
Yeah.
I wonder if my battery packs are filled up with, all of it. Yeah.
Is that
definitely a
trauma?
thing.
Yeah, I would say so, yeah. Because it's just lingering, and it's, when you get the first sign of it, it's like, oh, it's back.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? You guys are the best people to ask about things like this. I feel like you are. But for someone who may just be hearing about all of this right now with you ladies, I'm going to share a little bit about you. Is that okay?
I love it. Thank you.
In 2021, you all created you all are solopreneurs, and you created what is now the first ever hybrid conference dedicated to destigmatizing and amplifying melanin mental health. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Well, I can say it differently.
Say it differently. Let's hear it.
Okay. The two of you co-produced the first ever hybrid conference dedicated to destigmatizing and amplifying melanin mental health.
Yes.
Is that better for you?
Yeah,
I
can you
feel
rewrite
it.
that on the
Without
know.
in just 18 hours before start time. The annual Melanin Minds Mental Health Conference has grown to a multi-day can't-miss experience, partnering with the Houston Texans, YMCA, and the Greater Houston Big Brothers Big Sisters for interactive conversations, hands-on healing, local vendors, free self-care services, family-friendly classes, and so much more. I have in the studio with me this person sitting next to me. She's positive. She's a positive disruptor. She's innovative and bold. Lagina R. Harris. Great morning.
Great morning.
And the person sitting next to you, she is multifaceted. She's a Virgo. She's creative. She is Melissa Mel. Great morning.
Great morning.
I'm so glad to have both of you here in the studio with us today for good reason. You're talking about an upcoming event that you have. I do want to know first and foremost how you guys came together and what exactly is melanin, I'm saying it right.
Melanin
Melanin
Minds.
mental health.
Oh, melanin mental health. Yeah.
Yeah, so Lagina and I met, of all places, on Instagram. Being solo womenpreneurs, I was hosting a live with another entrepreneur. Lagina was being the ultimate business bestie, dropping all her links in the chat. As Lagina says, legend has it, one of us slid into each other's DMs. We've forgotten who now, but we just started to support each other on our entrepreneurship journeys. I joined the US Space's virtual accountability day. The US Space and Lagina and her members helped me win a grant for my small business. And then when I decided to put together a virtual conference for women, Lagina was a huge part in that, and she just in passing was like, oh, we'll do our own conference soon. And the very next month, we were planning what would be the first annual Melanin Minds Mental Health Conference. And we actually connected over mental health, over our kind of opposing relationships with food. Like when I'm anxious or stressed, I don't eat. Lagina has the opposite reaction. So we always had to make sure when we were working that make sure you eat. I still have the picture of me eating a banana
and sending it to me
that I was eating that day. And yeah, we just kept grinding, and we put together this conference in the US Space in their previous location. And in meeting so many melanin practitioners of mental health, whether they be psychologists, therapists, sound healers, we were just met with such gratitude and appreciation for the space for them to give back to their community. So we quickly realized that this was not going to, we thought maybe we'd do financial stuff and,
relationships.
Every year would be a different theme, but we really honed in on mental health within our Black, Indigenous, people of color communities, and not just providing the resources and the spaces for those of us who need support in mental health, but also amplifying the people already doing the work, because they're out here. There are so many therapists that look like us that are just waiting, to connect to their community. So we are the conduit of that space.
I love that. This is good information. And, what better place to meet than social media? There's so many mixed, reviews about and how you utilize social media. Is it good for you? When to take breaks? You guys have used it for good. You've connected. That's
Yeah.
how you met.
Yeah.
And it has brought to the light a wonderful organization or group called Melanin Minds. I really appreciate this. Now, with Melanin Minds, you said that you highlight people who are doing the work. You bring resources to people as well who are in search for this type of information. Tell me a little bit about how what happens when a person connects with Melanin Minds.
I mean, I feel like so many things happen. It can be somebody that's seeking mental health support on their mental health journey, right? So they could go to our website, our resource links. We keep our resources on our website up to date, and we make sure that it is people and practices and organizations that support people of color in mental health. So we make sure that they're friendly or an advocate or a safe place to be for people of color. One of our favorite ones is the Loveland Foundation. They actually do vouchers for mental health for Black women. I believe up to 12 a year that you can just apply for, and they give you vouchers to go on your mental health journey. So we really pride ourselves on being a resource. Our website's up to date. So you go to melaninminds.org/resource. There's resources there. Now, if you're a practitioner, there's so many ways that you can connect with Melanin Minds. We have ambassadors, we have our board, we have our advisory board, and then we have people that work with us on our road trip and our conference. And our complete job, because Mel and I, we always tell people we are not mental health experts. We are mental health advocates. We are very much on mental health journeys. Sometimes we laugh. We're like, is this selfish for us to do this work? Because we meet life coaches, we meet therapists, we meet holistic healers all the time and get like mini lessons in life and little mini therapy. But those people that are doing the work, our job is to amplify them, whether it's through wellness lounges, whether it's through conversations, whether it's through making sure that their platform's amplified and people know that they're out there. And again, like Mel said, that there's people that look like you, that think like you, that have similar life experiences, or that can just understand where you're coming from so that you can do the work on your mental health journey. So I think those are two of the lanes that you can expect when you find, or Melanin Minds finds you. And then particularly for the conference, it's a conference like no other. I've been to podcast conferences, I've been to media conferences, I've been to higher ed conferences, and even our practitioners and people that are in the mental health space day in and day out, they tell us, they're like, this is like no other conference, because one second you're on stage as the expert or thought leader, and the next second you're in the wellness lounge with your shoes off and an eye mask on, taking a nap because you're processing the journaling you did in a workshop. So we have the two different tracks that's doing the work and getting the answers. And it's an amazing conference that you get to experience over 3 days.
This is in person or is this both in person and virtually? Tell me a little bit about the experience for someone who wants to attend.
Yeah. You want to?
Yeah, so our first conference was hybrid. We had people Zooming in from, I think, the Bahamas. They were on vacation. But as we've grown year over year, it's just gotten bigger, and we've been so grateful to have so much more community show up. I think we're up to like 50 speakers this year. So with all of those logistics, we are having this be an in-person only event. However, we do have an amazing audio video team who will be recording all of the main stage sessions. So you'll be able to watch those on our YouTube. And if you actually go on our YouTube now, you can watch all the main stage sessions from last year's conference. So it's in person, but there will be a little bit of share online.
And where is this going to be held?
Downtown, 808 Travis at the Esperson building. So the Esperson building is a historic building, almost 100 years old in downtown. It's weathered many storms. We're going to be on the 6th floor. Our footprint is taking up the whole floor of an entire building, so that's really cool. We started, as Mel said, it was hybrid. We partnered with the US Space and the Canon, and we were in one little room for 2021. In 2022, as you were talking about, we partnered with the Houston Texans YMCA. And then in 2023, we were with Big Brother, Big Sister right there downtown, beautiful location. And then this year, we found an amazing venue partner in the Esperson building and Esperson Flex, and that's where we're at this year.
Tell me about your 5 pillars of Melanin Minds.
Yeah.
Yeah. So originally when we thought of, putting on a conference, we were like, okay, we're going to cover mental health. And then next year we're going to do finances. But once we honed in on mental health, we realized that there's so many parts of our lives, that everything in our life includes our mental health, affects our mental health. So we built our 5 pillars so that we can really have conversations about anything, whether it's financial mindsets, nutrition. So our actual pillars, the first one is mindset shifting, and that's kind of the one that people mostly think about when they think of mental health, right? Your mindset, being mindful, breaking stigmas, but then how else is your life aligned to your mental health goals? How are your relationships contributing to your mental health, whether it's social, romantic, personal, professional relationships? And then what nutrition are you putting in your body? How is that affecting your mental health, your physical mental health? And then the last one,
Holistic healing.
Holistic healing. So that is kind of all of like the woo-woo, for lack of a better term, but that's the yoga, that's the herbalism, that's the breath work, that's all of our ancestral practices that have kind of been either co-opted or built stigmas around, that we're trying to reintroduce to our community as, our ancestral healing practices.
Mm-hmm. What kind of challenge have you guys encountered as you developed this program, this organization? Tell me a little bit about the starting process and where you are today.
Yeah, so organizationally, I think the first challenge we had was a really unique challenge because, as Mel said, in 2021 when we started, we were like, oh, we're going to do mental health, and then we're going to do finances, and then we're going to do we really thought it was just going to be one-off little programs and supporting. We even had already identified partners we wanted to work with on other programming. And then, in all these conversations with these mental health practitioners and advocates, we were like, oh, we can't get rid of this. And then one day, Mel texts me, and she's like, hey, I'm going to apply for this thing. And I'm like, okay. And she applies, and it happened to be Savage X Fenty Game Changer duo, like Rihanna's stuff, right?
Yeah.
And we got it.
Mm.
And we didn't know what we had just embarked upon.
Mm-hmm.
So in 2021, toward the end of the year, I flew out to LA. We did a photo shoot, and then all of a sudden we're Savage X Fenty Game Changer duo and Savage X Fenty lingerie models, because they sent us like
That's
a whole
amazing.
set. It was amazing. Like your radio station.
Exactly, pun intended.
And so we were like, okay, so double down, because now this really can't go anywhere.
Well, wait, before we go to the
Yeah,
next thing,
absolutely.
what was, outside of an amazing experience,
Mm-hmm.
what were the benefits of being a part of that competition or submission or winning? What happens after you win something
Yeah.
big like that?
I think for us, it solidified what we were doing, like internally, because, just like any small business owner, the grants and writing it down and seeing it, you're like, oh, this is real. It helped us bond, right? Because again, we met 18 hours before the first conference in person. So we're still learning each other at this point. And so when I flew out there, I remember when I walked in the door, we both had gifts for each other, right? So for the first 3 or 4 times we met, we had gifts for each other. Now we're like, hey girl, in a hug, of course. So I think it did that. And of course, having a brand like that on our website and being able to even talk to the team, and the team telling us that they were like, yeah, I re-chose y'all. And we were like, under the table texting, like, cool, Rihanna chose us. Yeah, did you hear that? And and it was our first time just deciding collectively to just shoot our shot at everything, because even when we were on the call, we were like, there's no way we're gonna get this. But we were like talking to them, and they were like, do you have any other questions? We were like, yes, actually, we would love to be in the Savage X Fenty the fashion show. They looked at us like, so for us it was a big bonding moment, and it was traction and validity to what we were about to embark on. So that was like the first interesting challenge. And I say that it was a huge win, but it was a challenge because we were already being seen globally, and we didn't even have a local understanding of what we were doing. And so sometimes people will reach out to us with big asks or big expectations, and we're still trying to figure out .org, you know? So that was a really big challenge,
Sure,
and it's been an ongoing challenge because Mel is amazing at marketing, and I'm really good at ops and logistics and seeing forward. So we seem like we're a really big organization, and we just got our 501c3 like a year and 4 months ago. Yeah.
And so that is a great story to share with people who are deciding, everyone says all the time, I want to start a nonprofit, right?
Yeah.
I know I'm not the only one that
Right,
hears this
right,
often
all the
from
time.
many people. And, and they may get discouraged, not recognizing, to just get started, number one. But then also, too, the logistics that it may take. I'm pretty sure at some point you have to take a sit back and be like, okay, let's look at everything that's happening in front of us. And so what did you learn about yourselves in doing this? I understand the validity of being able to do this organization, being able to come together, but individually, what have you learned about yourself? You only met each other 18 hours before you actually decided, let's press go.
Yeah.
So is it you, Lagina, that, hey, I can work with anyone? Or is it you, Mel, that I can, we can come together with ideas with another person? What did you learn about yourselves individually in this process?
For me, I mean, we were talking about this earlier. Like, I wasn't on Zoloft when we first met, and now I am. And
You weren't on what?
Zoloft for anxiety and depression.
Got it.
So, like, I went from not being able to control my emotions to then being medicated, and like I've done a 180 and being able to work under stress and put things together without worrying so much. So I've definitely kind of let go a little bit, right? Especially with so many moving parts. You can only plan so much. So then it's just after that, just rolling with the flow. So I would say for me, I'm much more of it's not a disaster. And things will happen like that. And we'll push through. And so I think I've loosened up a little bit.
That's great. It's a great observation. And for yourself, Lagina?
I have learned how to communicate better because I've been a solo founder and a solo entrepreneur. And so communicating all of the thoughts in my head, understanding when to delegate and disseminate the thoughts. And because one day I looked up, I told Mel this, I was like, why is everybody looking at me? She's like, we're waiting for you to answer. And I was like, oh, okay. And in everything's processing my head. I've also really opened up a lane, as we're talking about just mental health journeys, right? And as we're understanding mental health journeys, I really have started understanding the juxtaposition between Mel and I. Mel is, medicated and goes to therapists a lot. I'm still seeking a therapist, a counselor, and understanding what that looks like. So even being on this platform and us being very open again about not being mental health experts, but being on our journeys and sharing that with people so that we can help destigmatize this idea that mental health doesn't happen in our communities. And when I say our communities, our Black communities, our Indigenous communities, our Asian communities, our Latino communities, all of those communities, mental health is happening in real time. We are doing it very well. We've been doing it, whether it's from holistic healing and ancestral practices all the way to what you could say, I like to say, laying on the couch and crying, because that's what I do when I do find therapists. So that's what I've learned about myself is opening up my communication in a different way, being a little bit more exposed, but also protecting my mental health journey and understanding that it's mine.
And I think that makes you both unique and makes this organization really work and worth the time and effort, and for others to look at it and say, this is something that they could support as well. And speaking of support, how can people be a part of Melanin Minds? Are there sponsorship opportunities? Tell me a little bit about that.
Yes, plenty of sponsorship opportunities, but for our flagship programming like the conference and our road trip, we're always looking for volunteers, sponsors, brand partners. We do our conference every year, the last weekend in July, and then in the fall, in September, we usually hit up Los Angeles, which is where I'm based out of, for another 3-day weekend. And then we also hit up Chicago, where the US space, and we have a ton of connects. And it's also Black Fine Arts Month in October in Chicago, so we partner with Pigment International for that. So we're always looking for volunteers, always looking for more mental health experts that are within our communities, that are looking to give their expertise back, as well as, of course, attendees. So definitely keep up with us. You can follow us on Instagram at _Melanin Minds, and sign up to our newsletter. We send that out quarterly.
Yeah, and then organizationally wise, we still have a couple of board seats open that we're looking to fill with decision makers, connectors, C-suite people. So if anybody out there is looking for an amazing organization to serve with, we have advisory and board seats available. And then as Mel said, we're also looking for fiscal sponsors that just want to sponsor the entire organization and look at where we can drive pillars forward in our communities.
I love this. I really appreciate both of you sharing all of this information with our listening audience. I can appreciate the fact that you have represented what mental health looks like to you personally, and that you do mention that you are not psychiatrists or any of those things, but it's important that you have shared this with us today. Now, we do have to wrap this interview up. One more time, tell us when this conference is, where it is, what time, and how we can attend.
Absolutely. So our conference is this week, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, so the 26th, 27th, and 28th in downtown Houston at the Esperson Building, 808 Travis, on the 6th floor. And you can find all the information on our social media platform on Instagram at _Melanin Minds. That's _MELANINMINDS. Or you can go to our website, melaninminds.org.
We like to leave fans, followers, listeners, and supporters with something inspiring, something empowering, something they can take within the rest of the day, the rest of the week, and all the way up to the weekend. We'll start with you, Melissa Mel. What would you like to leave us with today?
I'm kind of going to steal from you, Lagina. Your mental health journey is yours, and do what you can to make sure that you are mentally healthy.
And how do we find you?
Oh, I'm on Instagram at Meltifaceted, MELTIFACETED.
Awesome. Lagina R. Harris, what do you want to leave us with today?
Absolutely. We are in mental health crises in this country. Check on people. Be kind to people. Be mindful when you're speaking to people. And you can find me at Larae Infinity on Instagram. That's LARAEINFINITY.
Okay. Hey guys, look, we've got more in store for you. Later on today, we get a chance to chat with Dr. Cindy Trim. She's going to be our guest in just a moment here. So stay tapped in, stay tuned in, stay amazing. We'll be back.